morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Houston West Chamber of Commerce, PDN, stands for Personal Development Networking.
Encore.
Houston West Chamber, I belong to a lot of different chambers, but Houston West Chamber is my favorite chamber because they have over 800 company members, and when you translate that into staff and employees and people involved, it's over 50,000 people that they touch. Each year they have over 300 meetings like the one you're seeing right now. PDN, Personal Development Networking. This is one of the committees of the Houston West Chamber, and we focus on the physical, the mental, the business, all aspects of business, and networking. Some of the previous speakers that we've had here are national and internationally known speakers, some of them that you may know. Howard Partridge, the Executive Vice President of the Zig Ziglar Corporation, heads up all of the training worldwide for them, has authored many great books on business. Eric Swanson headed up Habitude's Warrior Conference. There were, I think, 3 of them here in Houston. They were all over the country. Eric Stanley. Eric founded one of the largest networking company in Houston. There was over 10,000 members in there. Ruben Gonzalez, 4 times Olympian in 4 different decades. Jonathan Sprinkles. Jonathan has written 14 books, I think. He is noted for training people how to give top presentations. Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh is actually here today. He's got a workshop going on. He was the one that conducted the Small Business Today Expos down at the George R. Brown Convention Center with over 2,000 people in there. And the list goes on. I'm going to give you a short segment on networking, a connecting moment. So, would you agree with me that most people make a decision within the first few seconds whether or not they want to continue the conversation with you? And they do that based on your appearance, what you say, and what you do. So, we've got some great folks here, and I'm just looking for one volunteer, Hyatt. So if anyone would like to come up and give their 30-second introduction, here is Hyatt Ives. Thank you.
Yeah, Hyatt! Thank you, Gail. I'm Hyatt with HyattIves.com. I am a business-to-business marketing communicator. I have 2 areas that you can benefit from. One is writing and editing. When you put out your material to your audiences through me, it's going to be second person, present tense with a call to action. Also, I have business-to-business trade show marketing, trade show leads guaranteed.
Great. Thank you, Hyatt. Appreciate that.
Hyatt!
Okay, now you want to take it to pieces? Okay.
I thought it was great.
So, let me ask you something here. How do you know, or how does your dog know, when you're going to give him a bath? You see, dogs spend their life eating and sleeping and playing and watching you. And they watch your moments. They see what your moods are. Dogs know what your words are. They memorize those words. And so when they hear you say, I'm going to give the dog a bath, they recognize that word and they go dive underneath the couch. Now it turns out that people are very much the same way. People listen to your words, and some of them raise a red flag. Would you like to know what that red flag is? It's I, me, mine, we, us, our. So, Newell, I know you'd like to know what those words are. It takes me a few minutes to talk about them, so it'd be okay if we just got together for coffee tomorrow and we could see how we build each other's business. Is that okay? All you want is an appointment at a networking meeting. Never, ever try to sell something. Stop talking about yourself. Start talking about them. I'll give you an example. Do you know how most people have a difficulty introducing themselves? Well, some people know the magic words to keep that conversation going. How many I's, we, us, ours were in that? Zip. No. Start thinking about doing that. If we had our display working here today, and I will send you guys some of these slides so you'll have that information. There's a picture, and it's a picture of Brian Tracy and me several years ago. We had an event here in Houston. There were 850 attendees at that event. I helped sell the event, and I was the MC for the event. And in years gone, Brian Tracy talked about the best techniques for closing. Here's your 10 best closing techniques. Today, he talks about building trust and rapport. So focus on that when you are networking. Next, I'd like to bring up Red O'Loughlin. Rather than a physician or associated with the medical industry, Red is a researcher, and he works on finding the source of the problem rather than treating symptoms. He's a retired Navy captain, flyer. He spent 31 years in there, was at 61 different countries. He has 5 academic degrees and 7 professional certifications. He's been married 53 years, has 2 children and 3 grandchildren. He's an author of 5 books. Some of them have been best-selling books. One of my favorites is The Joy of Ageless Health. He is a book strategist, a best-selling author, and a publisher. And a copy of this presentation is going to be sent to you. So help me welcome Red O'Loughlin.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate that. Our topic today is how do you get yourself prepared for health in the 2022 year? If somebody said, how's your health, Gary, Crystal? There's one word you can always answer. It doesn't matter whether how's business, how's the family, how's whatever it is. One word answer suffices. It's called, it's incredible. Because it doesn't matter whether it's incredibly good or incredibly bad. You don't have to amplify the second word. So if you say, how's business? Oh, it's incredible. How's your health? It's incredible. So if nothing else, you have now a one-word answer for the rest of 2022. For your health, for your business, for your relations, for everything.
Right.
However, when we want to look more at health, let's go ahead and stride into 2022. I use the word stride because it forms S-T-R-I-D-E, a nice word that I can use. S for stress, T for toxins, R for radiation, I for inflammation, D for diet, and E for expectations. Let's talk about each one of those as briefly as we can. Stress, we all have it. It's all around us. It's not what happens to us. It's what we hold on to and don't let go. That is the problem. That is the real crux of the matter. So if you're looking at stress, what can you do that you would enjoy doing? Now, a lot of people don't like breathing exercises. They don't want to go out and run a mile and a half. There are a lot of things you can do. I use EFT, emotional freedom techniques. There are just a lot of different things that can be done. But I'm giving you STRIDE, 6 different things. Don't go out and try to do them all this week. Take one of those and master it for the next 21 to 30 days. Incremental improvement will take care of it. So if you've never done any real stress mediation, maybe that's when you want to try. And do something for 7 days in a row, then 8 days in a row, then 9 days. In 21 to 30 days, you will have a new habit. So but just pick one of these and work on that for January. And then pick another one and incrementally improve yourself next week. But stress is a fairly easy one to do, but it is a genesis of so many, about 80% of all doctor's visits have some genesis in the form of stress. Toxins, those unknown things that we don't know about. The clothes you wear, the dry cleaning, the shampoo, personal care products, the foods we eat, anything we drink, the air we breathe, it's all around us. What is the easiest way to try to do something about that? Read the labels. If there's a label on the food and it says no antibiotics, no added flavors, no added coloring, that's probably something that you might want to consider buying. It's an organic thing. But if it has 15 things and the words on there, you have no idea in the world what they are, that's probably something you don't want to have. So if you're buying laundry detergent, look at it, see what's in there. You want to have the thing that has the least amount of stuff that does the job that you need to have done. So for those kinds of things on toxins, read the labels. You'd be amazed at what is on a label. And if you actually need to have a magnifying glass, get something out of your pocket or what, and read it. That's what you need to do. Radiation, that's one of those things we really don't think much about. However, you have a phone that if you hold it up here, the distance from whatever is emanating a radiation, so as I put on speaker and I hold it here, I have a much better response to radiation in my body than holding it here. So, but it's not only that. I have a computer in front of me. The minute you turn on a switch, every electric wire in this room now is emanating an electromagnetic pulse, force. That force is something that enters the body. You're sitting at your desk, you got a light on over here, you got a computer, you got a printer, you got this and that, and a fan above you. Before you know it, you're surrounded by an electronic field. Well, it's not so much what it is, it's how long and how close you are to everything. So if you have a TV set and it's 10 feet away, fine. But if you have a light right next to you, do you really need the light on? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But for the biggest thing on radiation, awareness. Just kind of surveil the area. What do you have that doesn't, the minute you turn something on, electricity is flowing, now you have some exposure. So can you minimize that exposure by distance, by the amount of time that's spent in that environment? A lot of different things you can do. And of course you've got the sun. You know, there's not a whole lot you can do about that, but that radiation is there. You may not be able to tell, but I'm going through some chemotherapy right now. My head is broken out a little bit from fluorouracil, but that's something I do about once every 10 years. I have a treatment that basically goes in there and kills a lot of the fast-growing cells. Inflammation, probably the #1 thing to tackle with regard to health. 98-99% of all disease starts at the cellular level, chronic low-level inflammation. How do you know you have any? Most of us have no idea in the world. Yet, if you were to go get a test, it would tell you right away. But that test is one the doctors typically don't give you. It's called C-reactive protein, CRP. You can go down to a local lab, they'll take your blood, and for a reasonable price, you'll get a number that says 0.5, 5.0, whatever it may happen to say. That tells you how much inflammation you have in your body. It won't tell you where, but it'll give you a big, broad number. This is it. So CRP is something, talk to your doctor about it, go down and take care of it yourself. But cellular inflammation will grow into oxidative stress. Now you're starting to talk about something starting to grow. you may have a tumor growing for 40 years and never know it, because there's no reason to go into the body to look for it. But if you get a CRP and it says 17, something's wrong. Now you can talk to your doctor and say, okay, here's my family history, here's this, and they can start sending you out for things. But stress causes inflammation, exercise, breathing, thinking, lots of things cause it. But how do you counter that inflammation? Antioxidants. And one antioxidant doesn't take care of every inflammatory situation in the body. So if you're taking spinach here and blueberries over here and something else over it, you really need to mix those things up. Those are the things that actually get down into the body and do something. Now you talk about stress in the brain, that's a different animal because you gotta get through the blood-brain barrier. There are things that do that, but we're not gonna go into that level of detail today. But if you're gonna start working on inflammation, increase the number of antioxidants you have. What are antioxidants? Typically fruits and vegetables. So if they're not in your diet right now, might be something to seriously think about, because it will cut down the long-term development of disease. Diet. 3 or 4 things in there I consider extremely important. It's not necessarily the food, it's the pH. Is your food acidic or is it alkaline? The more alkaline your body is, the less likely of having a disease at all. Our blood pH stays at 7.4. 7.0 is neutral. Anything less than 7 is acidic, anything more than 7 is alkaline. You want as much alkalinity in your life as possible. What happens if you live in an acidic world? Well, number one, your bloodstream is going to leach calcium out of your bones. It's called acidosis, and pretty soon you're gonna end up with osteopenia, osteoporosis, brittle bone, a lot of situations. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's one of those things you can control much earlier in your life by keeping your pH above 7.4. How do you do that? Fruits and vegetables, we just talked about that. Fats, proteins, carbohydrates are all acidic. Normal metabolism is acidic. So you need more fruits and vegetables than you have for your physical activity and for your diet. So if you have a big pile of mashed potatoes and steak over here, you better have a huge pile of something else over here. So what can you do? Well, portion control. Years ago I switched to a salad plate. Whatever you can put on that plate for one meal, that's a far better way of working than having a big plate and going back for seconds. So portion control is a really easy way to start a new year health habit. Nutritional balance. You need everything, 30 plus nutrients on a daily basis, minerals, vitamins, enzymes, amino acids, etc. Your body doesn't make everything it needs help. So look at what you are actually eating. Portion control. The other one, 2 things, restricted calories. Nutritionists tell us we need 15 calories per pound to maintain weight. So if I have 200 pounds, I need 3,000 calories. Well, in reality, the body thrives on 10 calories per day, not the 15 that the nutritionists tell us about. So if you can start structuring more fruits and vegetables, that's lower calories, portion control your fats and your proteins, minimize your carbohydrates, all of a sudden you're down at 10 calories easily per pound. That will, in fact, a lot of animals, when you put them on a restricted diet, they'll live 20, 30, 40% longer because of that less food. Now again, you have to have nutritional balance in that. The other one that I want to talk about real quick is fasting. I fast 72 hours a month, sometimes it's 150 hours, it just sort of depends, but it's one of those things I do as a regular basis. It takes me a couple days to get my mental preparation for it, and then it's easy. But even a 24-hour fast, it causes your human growth hormone to exponentially grow. That is what's in charge of your body when you're an infant. It's what gets you all the way up to your toddlers, into your teenage years, and then once you get to your maximum height, weight, so to speak, back then it kind of starts waning off. So, but when you get to your 60s, 70s, you have very little left. But if you want to get a lot more and have human growth hormone back in control of everything, fasting, at least 18 hours a day. And then wrapping things up, expectations. Your subconscious mind is in charge of everything you have. If you're expecting a bad year, you're expecting bad health, if you're expecting whatever it is, that's probably what you're going to get. Change your expectations, make them more positive, make them more, clarify exactly what you want, and say, I expect this, say it out loud. Those are the things that you need to do. You start doing those things on a regular basis, and you'll be amazed at what happens. I'll turn it back over to Gail.
Thank you so much, Red. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Good information there. And now I'd like to introduce to you Ronald Earl Wilsher, the author of Miscellaneous Ramblings from a Slightly Deranged Mind. And the second edition is coming up here. He is also the founder of Wilsher Publishing, Wilsher Media Group. He shows people how to use mass texting techniques. He is a keynote speaker. He is a website coach. He is, for the last few years, been a trainer for the real estate agents in which they receive CE credits. And now he's opening up that same training to other industries. So, branding for humans, this is Ronald Earl Wilsher.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. I don't know if I could live up to all that, but when I was asking Gail how long I have today, it reminded me of this traveling minister in the country, back in the country. Asked the resident guy, I said, how long can I preach this Sunday? And he said, well, you can preach as long as you want, but we all leave at noon. So. How many people here are totally, completely happy with everything in their life? Nothing could get any better. If you're that kind of person, you don't need me. Keep doing what you're doing. Maybe you should do a class or a talk. What I do is, if you're not happy, what's probably you're going to have to do? Anybody know?
Change.
You got to change something. But what do most people think when you mention change?
It's hard.
It's hard, right? So I have in my book, it said, if you stop to consider how difficult it is to change yourself, you will realize probably what little chance you have to change someone else. I can't even get my own life together. How do you expect me to get your life together, right? So what I want to talk about today, I've only got about 15 minutes. As Gail was saying, I generally do 3-hour classes, and I have no problem filling that up. I was meant to talk. That's what I was born to talk. I even have talkforfood.com. What I'm going to leave you with is, how many people feel like things have changed a little the last couple of years? You know what I look when I see change? I see opportunity. Because if you're in a big period of change, what are people more apt to do? They're more apt to listen to what you have to say. So I'm going to tell you 3 things that I teach people to attract people to them. I have on the back of my book a phrase I coined about 15 years ago. Attract and engage is better than chase and convince. Once you start living your life in the attract and engage mode, and you get out of the chase and convince mode, it will change every area of your life. So I'm going to give you a few things that I have used. I went from living in my car to making almost $100,000 a month selling real estate. How did I do that? Everybody always read, they want to know what? What's the secret, right? What's the secret? Well, let me tell you the secret. There ain't no secret. But if there was a secret, let me tell you what it is. You are the secret, right? I study successful people. Success leaves clues for people that choose to pay attention. If you do certain things in a certain way, you'll get a certain result almost 100% of the time. So why aren't there more successful people? Why would you think? Most people don't do a cotton-picking thing. So if you're the kind of person that will actually do something, you eliminate most of your competition, because most people live in the reactive mode, right? They're always just reacting to crisis, right? Get out of that, get into the proactive mode. What's one way that I live in the proactive mode? Well, I have on my voicemail, if I don't get back to you within 24 hours, wait longer. I got that from my son. I thought it was very funny. Most people were trained. Remember back when the phone used to ring in your house? Everybody runs for the phone. I think we still do that now, don't we? So, what I'm going to give you is a couple of things that's really helped me. First of all, quit worrying about all the people, what all the people that aren't thinking about you think about you. Okay? Your problem is not that people are talking about you. You know what your problem is? People aren't talking about you. That's your problem, right? You must be seen to sell, and money follows action. Action alone will determine your value in the marketplace. You can correct something, you can't correct nothing. So once you start understanding how this little equation works, the top people that I study online and elsewhere, the poor guy makes about $600,000 a month. The top guy makes about $5.5 million a month. I've studied these guys extensively. And as I tell people, I was cursed at birth with a photographic memory and an uncommon amount of common sense. And I've also learned to read in the interim, right? People don't like reading or listening because they might learn something and they might have to change. I'm real comfortable in my misery, right? So I've studied all these guys, and there's one thing that every single one of them have, and you know what it is? It's called your list. Show up, stay in touch. Show up, stay in touch. Most people don't show up. And of the ones that do show up, most of them don't stay in touch. Do you know how I know? I meet a lot of people. Do you know how many people actually want to stay in touch with me? Maybe for other reasons, I don't know. If you're not making the money that you want to make right now, there's one thing you're probably not doing. You know what that is? You need to start more conversations. If you're not making the money you want to make, you got to go start more conversations, right? Most people don't understand that. But once you start the conversation, what do you have to do? You have to keep that conversation going as long as possible. Because the longer you keep it going, the more chance you have of them doing one of two things. What is that? Either buying something from you, or sometimes just as good or better, them talking about you. I have a lot of people. Sorry, guys. That's all good, brother. I have a lot of people on my Way Cool Friends list, and if you want to be on it, I'll let you know how you can get on it here in a second. You got to be way cool. It is my list. The people, they don't, once you keep the conversation going, there's a lot of people on there that's never bought anything from me. Do you know what they do? Hey, Ronnie, I met somebody today. They need you. They really need you. Why? Because I keep my name and face in front of them, right? Remember I said you must be seen to sell? What is the 2-3 things that I teach for a powerful personal brand? Very quickly, register your name as a .com, sets you up a landing page, and starts you some kind of a list. Most people don't have it. Those basic fundamentals. Jorge, if I want to teach you how to drive a 8-speed CL6 Corvette, what do you need if you want to learn how to drive one of those cars? Huh?
Driver's license.
Training.
You need a Corvette. See, most people, they go out and try to work everything out. What do you got? See, most people, again, they don't do anything, right? I registered my name, I think, right after Gail did. It was right before Al Gore invented the interwebs, right? I said, what the heck am I going to do for this? One of the most valuable pieces of digital real estate you'll ever own. HideEyes.com. And by the way, I like your That Ain't Not Right list, or what do you call it?
Yeah, that ain't not right.
He gave a talk one time, and after it's over with, said, hi, that's what you need right there. That's your goal. That's your deal, right? So think about this. What is your most valuable asset in business?
My name.
You. So what should you always lead with? You. See, we think in pictures, right? If I say red Corvette, what do you think? R-E-D-C, no. Put your picture everywhere. Put your picture everywhere, right? Once you register your name, now it's you. How did you get your name as your domain? Think about all the famous people in the world, musicians, speakers, authors. What is their .com? Their name. It's easy to remember. Become memory friendly. If I want to give you money, I got to remember who you are. Just saw on Facebook earlier somebody needed a stuccoer. I actually know a guy that does stucco, but he doesn't stay in touch with me. Probably could have sent him some business, maybe, right? Show up, stay in touch. Second, I said set you up something, the list. So I'm going to give you a way to get on my list. Okay, y'all ready? Text the word fun, pull out your little phone. Why do I love email, but why do I like text even more?
The answer.
95 to 98% of all texts are read within 3 to 5 minutes. Did you know that? Do you know, I actually think it's, they say, the phone companies say 98% of all texts are eventually read. I actually think it's 100%, but that last 2% is read by the coroner. You know, that's pretty funny. I don't think it's worth dying over. So don't text and drive into running water. He's trying to get me in front of the camera. Text the word fun to this number if you're not on my list already. 281-595-0707. 281-595-0707. Just text the word fun to that number. And what you'll get is a reply text. You click on the link and add your information. If you don't add your information, you won't be added. That's how it works. What I do is I send out information once every week to 2 weeks, just little things that I think people want to hear or see. If they don't, they can get off the list. Reply stop. Okay? I don't want you on there if you don't want to be on there. See, that's the other thing is people spend their life, and I got this from Bob, and I used my poetic license on it. If you want to improve the quality of your life, stop trying to sell filet mignon to vegetarians. You go out and you try to be all things to all people, don't you? Let me tell you how to improve the quality of your life. Define exactly what your perfect client is and make people meet that criteria before you spend your valuable time with them. That's crazy, isn't it? No, that's how you make money right there. Do you think all the people, the people that sell those, you know, those cars that have a little fancy sign on them, the little peace sign? Some of those cars are $250,000, $300,000. Do you think they lose sleep over the people that have a car budget of $20,000? That's not my customer. That's not my people. I sold real estate for a long time, and people used to always come in my model looking for a house that I couldn't help them with. You know what I did? Can't help you. Water in the fridge. I'll be at my desk if you need any help. All the viewing privileges today are free, right? Don't spend your time with people that don't want, don't need, and can't afford whatever it is you're selling. So set you up a system to where you attract the people that are ready, willing, and able. If you sit down with somebody and they don't buy what you're selling, one of two things are wrong. Number one, it ain't the right time. If they're cool, get them on your list. Get them on your list. I hang around cool people. I only hang around people who are comfortable enough with who they are to let me be who I am. I'm only looking for people who are looking for me. It was a big epic day in my life when I realized some people can't handle a loudmouth, former long-haired hippie. Some people don't get into that. Well, guess what? That's all I got. Right? If you ain't into that, I'm walking away with a clean conscience, right? It's clear. So, once you get your list set up, what do? You constantly stay in contact and keep your name and face in front of people. And when they get ready, what was the other thing I said? They're either not ready, or you probably should have never sat down with them in the first place, right? The people that came into my model, I sold an average of about $450,000 little domicile, and that was 15 years ago. People come in all the time looking for $200,000. Can't help you. I'm not going to spend any time with you. That's not my customer. Define who it is you want. Make people meet that criteria before you ever sit down with them. I'd rather they tell me no way up front than sit down with them and waste my time. Or theirs. I'm not really worried as much about theirs as I am mine. But. So, I'm going to end. Rest your name. Set up your email. HyattIves.com. GailStolzenberg.com. BobDog.com. Man, how'd you get your name as your domain? That's pretty cool. Perception highly impacts reception. What does that mean? What I think about you before I ever sit down with you highly impacts what kind of credibility and attention I'm going to give you. So, do you want to be the expert at something, or would you rather be the authority? I'm the expert on nutrition. Red's the authority. Who do you all automatically think knows more? Words are important. Words are important, right? What you say. So, if you want on my list, you got on my list. If you want one of my books before I leave, let's talk about it. And I'm gonna end with this. And it's a little early. I gave a talk about 10 years ago at the Reliance Stadium to a bunch of CPAs. If you heard nothing else that I hear this. This will help you tremendously if this is all you hear from me. Entertaining, very good presentation, very interesting, interactive, engaging, odd subject matter, charismatic speaker. There's a bunch of CPAs, remember. Informative session, was able to pick up a few tips on branding in the 21st century. Nice change in topic from pure accounting. What wouldn't be, right? Good job. Felt like I was in a timeshare presentation. Speaker hardly seemed to be an expert. Lots of energy, a good presenter for the after lunch time slot. Best yet. My favorite, weird dude. Like, I would have liked to be whoever wrote that. One of the best compliments I ever received in my life. Very dynamic, provided no concrete information, sales pitch. Awesome speaker, interesting perspective and content. Good presentation without a real message. Really enjoyed, not enough substance. Felt more like a sales pitch than application to my career. So if you get nothing else out of this, remember this. Always be who you are, because no matter what you do, some people are still going to think you're an idiot. Thanks for inviting me again.
Thank you for being here. Fantastic information.
Thank you.
I'm looking for the clicker here. And we don't have a screen going, but if we had the screen going,
Pretend.
what you'd see on there is the question. How many of you are receiving the Connections Now newsletter that I produce? And I see a
Good job, Mr. King.
number of hands going up, and every week, and if you're here, we'll make sure that you get on there. Every week we send that out, and one of the things it has is the top networking and training events in the Houston area. Tomorrow evening, there'll be a Conservative Leaders Forum. If you have an interest in that, let me know. Today, the reason we're leaving a little bit early today is the Toolbox Ministries luncheon is going on, and awesome speaker there. Friday, there's a new networking event. It's in the Tomball area called Java and Jabber. And the host happens to be Ronald Earl Wilsher. Next week will be one of the Houston West Chamber events. It's called Rise and Grind. Great networking event at the Cafe Laredo, 7 a.m. On the 21st of December, that's a Tuesday, there'll be a networking event right down the street here. It's at the corner of West Green and I-10, and it's called Texas Borders. It's the In Houston Katy premier business networking event, and the host is Neil Cheatham.
Yay!
The event this event. For February is going to be right here on the 17th of February, the 9th of February, the second Wednesday. And our speaker is going to be Doug Winnie. Doug Winnie, well, let me back up. Doug Winnie is with Action Coach. Action Coach is the largest business coach in the world. Over 1,000 coaches there. Doug Winnie happens to be the top coach in the world for Action Coach. And he's got a new book out. I don't have that book with me, but he'll be here on the 9th of February. So look forward to attending then. I want to leave you with a gift. It's a new book that I'm putting out. Actually, a professional physician did most of the work on the book. But it's called Gut Matters, and it's all about the digestive system and how it affects your life. So look forward to getting my email with a link to get that new book. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today, and look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. Drive safe.
Thank you, Mr.